Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another lovely WARNO Division 1 day here. As we have two great series today for you with some well-known names. Nocturna, from coming in from a really top run last Division 2, and on the other side, Human Place, coming in as second place of Division 1, and coming in with one of his old veterans one. We have Stardekk versus Tiberius for you afterwards as well. And yeah, picks and bans here. Pretty classic. What do you have to say about the picks? And what do you have to say about the map here, Chloride? What the hell? Uh, okay, so the people couldn't hear any of your stuff because my system is trolling me. It shows me that you should be heard, but people tell me they can't hear you. So I'm trying to fix it right now. But now it doesn't want to let me fix it at all. That is beautiful. Now we go back in and out. Does that fix it? No, now it doesn't show up at all anymore. That is beautiful. What the hell is going on? Why does... Like, it showed me a big red line when you were talking. Like, it showed the voice being recorded, like it usually does. And now it just doesn't show anything anymore. Beautiful Discord. Yeah. I'm at 339. So yeah, we gotta figure this out here real quick, guys. But yeah, this is highly frustrating because the system tells me you should hear sounds, guys. So you are all just deaf, I guess, or you just don't want to hear it. All right, you obviously are wrong and not the system. What the hell? Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Yeah, it has to be on my end. Okay, let's see. Does that change anything? No. Why the hell? Okay. Uh, can you say something now?
Did you guys hear me singing?
I don't think they did, but yeah.
Well, unfortunately. I have a great voice, but yeah. So this map here, I don't remember its name, but yesterday's stream, I casted a bunch of the lower division games, and I also checked out that I believe this might be the most banned map in the league so far, and I think it is because, unlike a lot of maps, its front line is really concentrated around the Fedor, Dimitri, Elena, and center area. And basically, the Fedor Dimitri is for the red player. It's a safe zone for the red player, whereas Elena and Fedor are safe zones for the blue player. And this means that the front line, right from the very start, is going to be really close, and there's a lot of possibility for advancement if you do an early infantry attack. So this map, unlike a lot of these maps nowadays, is really favorable to forward deployment. And I think this intimidates a lot of people, and this map hasn't really been figured out. The road network is so wide that if you that there's a lot of likelihood that the enemy can quickly get into your back line. So you also have to have numbers to actually cover most of the zone. Up north, there are three high rises actually, which are one kind of a key area if you want to secure line of sight up north. So that's something the blue player can contest. But here we have Tman Place going against Nocturna. Tman Place playing his traditional 7th Panzer, and Nocturna playing the traditional nemesis of 7th Panzer, the 5th Blindé. Blindé, both of these starting out with the Recon Special Forces, Dragon Paras and Spezialaufklärer, respectively. Spezialaufklärer the French do get extra fire support with the VLRA 50s. Tman is doing a concentrated mech attack on the middle, going in Dimitri, trying to challenge this incursion by Nocturna's forces. T-72 M1s, BMP-1s with a Kube and a Strela out there. Very, very balanced, very reasonable. Tman opening up with the better tanks instead of the cheap ones, so that they get the smoke launchers, especially important. And whereas Nocturna trying to play around with the AMX-10s and immediately to get side shots, strike at this mechanized force from both angles. Tman has been prepared with a Conqueror's missiles, immediately driving off the AMX-10s, meaning basically, because AMXs can't really deal with infantry ATGMs. They can deal with vehicles, but not infantry, especially not in cover or garrison. So AMXs, not lost. Dragon Paras under fire. AMX-30 B2s vetted up, trying to engage the T-72s on long range. That's a bad engagement for them. And Tman under cover of the Concourses here. Concourses seem to be a great opener here. The BMP-1s giving you a little bit of extra in the ATGM department.
Ooh, Jaguar coming in. Doesn't get a hit there. Coop pushing it away. This is the Jaguar with the AS30L, the updated variant, with 60% accuracy. So a bit unfortunate they're not getting the hit against the T-72 M1. That would have been a kill there. MX-10s in the north get killed off as well. So 2 MX-10s down. All vehicles on the other side still alive. The MX-30s pushed back for now as well. And the Conquerors once more getting a missile around. Last AMX-10 RC in the south here. Under heavy pressure. More MX-30s coming along the battlefield. 2 Roland 3s behind all of this as well. Nocturna tries to sneak into the middle. Tries to get the P4 PC in there to get a +2 up. To get a bit of a point advantage here from the get-go. But Tman is getting more and more forces in here into the center zone. The BMP-1s are stuff you want to just take out here as quickly as possible as Nocturna, and MX-30s so far do the job, but without the Brennis and without the Blindé, your MX-30s aren't really that strong against the T-72s. Like, the T-72 has 17 frontal armor, you only have 17 pen, you are basically not dealing damage against them. As long as you don't get closer. If you get closer, your frontal armor is the big issue against the T-72s, so it's tough to fight them in these fights.
Yeah, currently the AMX-30s are vetted up, which means that they do get the first shot in a completely equivalent exchange. I think Tman's opener here with the Concourses and the defensiveness here is a decent idea, considering the close ranges favor the French. The French have faster rate of fire, they have better veterancy, and they have way faster vehicles than the T-72s. So Tman is sacrificing some points here to just keep on building up a force big enough to break this all at once. This kind of skirmishing and getting a little bit closer into the Apilas range especially is a huge risk for Tman. And I think
oh my goodness, the rocket's bailing out the AMX-10 RC. Oh, the big victory there. It could have driven away otherwise, but with the bailout, the vehicle was stuck there, gets killed off, so all AMX-10s are down. And on the other side, few kills so far. What I kind of would like to see from Nocturna at this point, realizing that you're likely not going to get a breakthrough anytime soon, and this is likely going to go longer, would be AMX out once and start playing the artillery game here. Because I feel like that's one of the ways here that you can win this as the French in the long run, is grinding it out here frontally with your combat forces. Not going to really be easy, but with your quick-fire artillery, you could do it. The air can be helpful as well, but the Coups on the other side will shut you down eventually. Coup getting a decent hit here already. Strela coming in does miss, but the Jaguar doesn't get a hit in one more time either. So the T-72s stay alive here. The MX-30s lighting up a bit of infantry here. The autocannon, as always, really helpful there. The Jihad just decimating the infantry on the way in, stressing them out heavily, and all of these infantry is now heavily reducing combat power, so the grenadier voltages should be in a good spot. But yeah, the artillery would be big. SPWs trying to flank in the south. MX-30s easily can deal with those as well. Taking out 2. Coming in for the next one. T-72 coming around. Milan 2's pretty effective against those. So that's your way there to hold on against the T-72s, I believe. The better ATGMs holding them out for a long while. Ooh. Mi-24 gets hit against another AMX-30, so that has to disengage. But Mistrals are around, and I think Nocturna is doing a decent job in the current position, but the first engagements, the loss of the heavy vehicles, is pretty important.
Yeah, the AUF 1 is coming in now, as you said. Tman is still investing into like more offensive equipment. The helicopters and the MiG-21 bombers here are
Roland's
clear way of
not getting a hit, but the MiG-21 did get forced to bomb badly. Bomb pattern by the hit got messed up, and the Rolands do get the kill on the way out. T4 in the middle gets annihilated, but the Milan still alive for now. T-72 doesn't get a hit, but the HGM does go astray there. And MX-30 here not able to follow it up. Might find a flanking shot later on. And the AMX-1, I feel like should already start firing onto the Conquerors, onto the infantry in the middle. Shouldn't wait until it's super close to the front line. MX-30's doing a decent fallback engagement there, but one of them gets caught out by the T-72s, stays in range. One T-72 gets annihilated by the Milan 2. That's a good kill. The Brennises now taking the engagement, one of them dying there as well. Jaguar AT, can it finally find a kill? It finally finds a kill. But the Brennis here can't take these engagements against the T-72s. The T-72s can get into close range quite easily. But one EMP goes down, one T-72 went down as well, but there are so little units here that are remaining for Nocturna. The Brennis needs to get repaired. The Milan is out of ammo, so it needs to retreat as well. The couple of Grenadier Voltigeurs that are still around are somewhat overextended as well. They have Apilas, so they force the enemy to clean them up with infantry. As 2 more Brennis come onto the battlefield, more infantry as well. But the AMX-1 still silent, and even with the early advantage in the early trades, and the 7th Panzer being one of the most cost-efficient armored divisions, is still having a good amount of forces here in the center. And once the 2 T-72s of his are repaired, and the 2 reinforcing ones come in, I feel like there's a lot of trouble here for Nocturna holding on to the center force.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of all of this, Tman did actually recapture that position, and even though a bunch of Tman's units are wounded, bunch of Nocturna's units have been destroyed. Tman is lacking in supply right now, a little bit of supply coming in to reinforce all of this, but with these cheaper T-72Ms here, and with, as you said, the the Roland, the out one could have been firing accurately from a long range out. There was the VLRA 50s are recon vehicles, so they provide accurate shot, and even then, the units here are so tightly packed. Anyways, Tman is now achieving kind of the tempo advantage. There are now Brennuses, even more Brennuses coming in, with Tman reinforcing with 3 T-72s, including a T-72 leader. And I think this is the problems are going to start escalating now, unless Nocturna can actually manage to get an infantry attack and start contesting the zone and put T-Man back under pressure. With 30 minutes left, and T-Man being known as like very methodical, very mathematic, thinking like there is no emotion going on behind that face when he plays, like unless you're playing against pro commie in the late game. And D-Man is more than happy to sit behind like the next 20 minutes behind a 400 point deficit.
Artillery, the T-72s here, getting the Canadian Voltigeurs, doing a decent amount of damage. The MXL-1s re-engaging, trying to shoot up the T-72s. I don't think that's the targets you want to go for here, but they might not be spotting anything else because all the recon has died. There is no recon here left in the center, so at least having them fire is better than not having them fire at this stage. And yeah, Recklers just have re-arrived in the center. The Canadian Voltigeurs can hold out decently against the Mudschützen, outnumbering them, but the fire support here from both sides is going to be the deciding factor, and there is currently just more stuff for Tman. The MXF1 got a bit of damage against the T-72, but nothing crucial. Another Milan 2 has arrived. Reloading the other Milan 2 on the other flank could be helpful here, as those 24 pen are so important against the T-72s. As we said about before, the Brennus can deal damage there as well with the 19 pen, but the normal MX-30s just don't quite cut it against the M1s especially.
Yeah, you get a single card of Brennuses, I believe, and with Veterancy 1, isn't that 4? So all of the Brennuses have been played so far, I think. And but the Brennus does have the like damage and range of the T80. Like it's got really good gun for a 105 millimeter. This is like an old school French bias complaint thing, but the Brennus basically it is a glass cannon modernization, and then even though it is superior to the T-72 if it gets to shoot first and then just move back into an ample supply hub, there are such numbers of T-72s that even if these things start trading slightly in the favor of the French, the Milan 2s will also have to be aggressively participating. The HOT missiles also coming in with the AMX-10 HOTs. HOT 2 will two-shot kill a T-72M, not the M1. Milan 2 will also two-shot kill a T-72M. And Tman, recognizing this, buying 2 Acacias immediately behind. And now this is going to be the juggling around a bunch of balls part of, or juggling around a bunch of artillery, tanks, and ATGMs part of the game, where recon will try to move, and you will juke your tanks and vehicles to reveal where the enemy missiles are, and then try to destroy them with artillery until in the last 10 minutes, 7th Panzer is more likely to have kind of a proper end game attack. It's not impossible for 5e to play really good in the late game, but a lot of 5e's late game potential is in the ATGMs, and ATGMs are just not they're not an offensive weapon, unfortunately.
Yeah, the MX-12 here doing a pretty decent job, but currently Tman plays dodges most of them with his units rotating around. Brennus here now getting charged. Oh, this is a big T-72 charge. MX out 10 hot with the strong hot 2 missile is pretty key. The MiG-21 cleans out the Apilas. Roland 3s this time around not hitting. Can they find a hit on the second one? No, they can't. The Jaguar doesn't There's a T-72 that died. I'm not sure if it died to the first Jaguar. Second Jaguar comes around, not getting the kill. 2 Brennises already down. Only 1 T-72 on the other side has died so far. The MX-10 HOTS trying their best here, but there is so little to hold on to, and this engagement is where Tman is breaking the whole shenanigans here, as the T-72s just keep on pushing forward. And yeah, good attack here. The T-72s showing why on these ranges the AMXs are kind of countered by them. AMX of ones here re-engaging, like on maps where you can use your maneuverability and your ranges better with the AMX-30s, they can absolutely be a challenge, but if you can get them into gun range as easily as on this map, where 1925 meters is the basic engagement range for on most spots, then the T-72s just wipe the floor with their French counterpart.
Yeah, it's before 20th Panzerna was a thing, 7th Panzer was the counter division to 5E, because the best counter is to have stuff that is just like 1 degree better, 1 degree heavier than the enemy. That's why 2nd UK and 4th Moto are so good against airborne divisions, and that's why 5E is so good against 2nd UK, and why 7th Panzer is so good against 5E. And but yeah, Tman has, last I checked, 5 supply vehicles right behind the front line. And if you repair a vehicle with multiple supply vehicles, that the repair will happen way faster. And if you look at the French forces, there are no supply. If something gets hit, it's not going to be participating in like 4 minutes time in the fight.
Yeah, the Roland 3, one of them is pretty misplaced here as well, not really able to fire. Got repositioned a bit so that it can't actually fire over the building. And yeah, T-72M here engaging against the MX-30s. The MX-30s did get a decent amount of damage in now, but yeah, the returning fire there is pretty scary. The other 3 of them did disengage there, so otherwise they might have been able to kill one here, but Tman has enough units to fall back behind and is able to disengage here time and again, as the MX-30s can't quite chase them down. MX-10RC supplaned here, coming down along the flank, but there's just so much red here. The +2 is going on, and Tman is soon able to get ahead in points. And as you said, the French are not strong enough at pushing frontally here. They don't have the frontal armor for that. They don't have the infantry units really to do that either. The infantry is way better at defensive fighting with their battle rifles and their launchers also being more there for ambushing. They're not cost efficient as shock infantry. So if you fall behind like this with the French division, it's really tough to get back into the action.
Yeah, it's I would say that even though, with your autocannons, this map may look really enticing for, and with the close ranges for penetration, this map does look like pretty enticing for 5e. You can get rid of infantry very quickly because your autocannons are super great. You have a pretty nice tempo where you don't have to sit back and wait too much. But I think Tman's strategy of just deploying way more defensively, not trying to participate in the special forces opener fight, instead just sitting back and letting the conquerors handle both flanks, was a great way to just neuter this. The French didn't really go into doing any side attacks. Tman has gunships and recon helicopters, so the side attacks would be inherently more inefficient. Tman now has an Aufklärer up north with helicopter, and also Aufklärer down south actually, to cover against any breakthroughs. It's a bad situation. I like 5e should have been like, if they had taken out those conqueresses, if Tman didn't buy them, the situations could be anything. Just few lucky side shots, a little bit of pressure with 4 cannons firing at 2 T-72s. Something could have happened. But with the Conquerors missiles out there was no chance.
Yeah, and the Conquerors here really holding the battlefield, as the MX-30s can't really take those shots either. So that's really the important part there. The ATGMs keeping the MX-30s from just taking pot shots at the T-72s and using that up from the beginning in a really well done manner. And now we have Tman about to go ahead of Nocturna here in points. There we go. He is ahead now, and he is only a minute away from getting into win condition territory with more than 100 points ahead. And he's still pushing everywhere. Nocturna's front line here is still slowly collapsing. Finally got some Conquerors killed, but loses an MX-30 at the same time. And without the Brennus, with the enemy still having a decent amount of T-72 M1s, and normal T-72 Ms here still being pretty capable of fighting this as well. This situation is kind of hopeless at this stage for Nocturna, as the push just keeps on going, and the cost efficiency here absolutely on side of our player in red.
Yeah, T-Man's like T-Man using BMP1s as fire support, you don't really get that much else with 7th, is also like pretty nice, because if those things get hit, they have a smoke, and if they get hit, that's just a BMP1. Like, is it going to be efficient? Keep sending your expensive ATGMs to just deal with BMP1s? No, it's not. You would have to have like a tank front line, and you're not going to have a tank front line because the T-72s can at any time come and peek and destroy your tank front line. Yeah, this is a very, very decisive victory for Team and players here. Love seeing this map, whatever it's called, Isura, okay, Isura Duel. I saw some pretty nice airborne action, and I would love to see this become like a like an MLRS airborne sort of a grind map, because there are so many angles and so many corners for infantry fights to happen. Right now, we saw kind of the main way that mechanized fights can happen on this map, which I think is battling for those, like the areas around those 3 points. Because if you control those areas, whether it be with conquersses or tanks, or likely with both, then you can basically fire support any part of that 3-zone kind of infantry fight area. And if you're trying to play an infantry against the mech, you would try to make an even wider front line with even more recon and even more ATGMs. I think there's potential with this map, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, a really job well done here by Tman, and really showing why that is the counter there. And it'll be interesting to see how Nocturna answers in game number 2. The matchup there going to be 56 VDV, and it's going to be interesting to see how that holds up now after all the nerfs versus first Tankova. TVZ on the other side, so the T-72's switching side here. And we're going to be on Krydo, so a good bit more wider. I feel like would have been a better map, maybe even for 15 Day there in this matchup. But yeah, we'll see. And gonna be back after a short break. So don't you run away, guys. And welcome to the Baltic Sea, everybody, as we have arrived for 56 VDV versus First Tagova here. And before we jump in, a quick shout out, guys, to the Metrino page, as this is what these guys are fighting over. The prize pool, which is crowdfunded by you guys. And big thanks to everybody already contributing. We're up to 500 bucks already. If you want to help out, you can do so with the link in the chat right now. Contribute via the button up here in the top. If we get to 1,000 bucks, there's going to be another 24-hour stream as well. And yeah, thanks for getting so far. Let's see how far we can push it. And yeah, much appreciated everybody here supporting it. As we go back in and see if Tman can get back into the prize money once more here, or at least can get one step closer here and make the big step with the victory here in the group stage, or if Nocturna can keep the chances up better for themselves and reduce the ones of Tman a bit here with getting a map number 2 win. As two pretty interesting divisions here. First Ankova, a division that so far hasn't performed up to expectations in League. And on the other side, 56 UDV, a division that has performed up to expectations for a long time in League, but has still been nerfed between the last two seasons. So we'll see if it still does that or if it's finally can be broken.
Yeah, I checked it also. Like First Ankova has like a sub 30% win ratio, but it's still one of the most picked divisions so far. I think one of the reasons why it's picked is because it is still a T72 division and plays kind of like the other T72 divisions that people have gotten used to with the T72 meta recently. But it's not as dangerous as something like 20th Pancerna or even 9th Panzer or 7th. So it can bypass the ban waves, and we're seeing now here. This was a counter pick. The first Tankova was a counter pick to the 56th, and first Tankova does beat the tank force of 56th pretty handily. The T62s versus T72s. With T62s do have good missiles, but the T72s on First Tankova have even better missiles. Also, you have the cheap T72M E2s. These guys do not have smoke launchers, but they are kind of the just to be thrown at the enemy and used as fire support early on if you're doing an infantry attack. Nocturna seems to be going in for a full-on mechanized landing in the Boris, where they're going to be facing the Tman's BMP infantry and some Afghanzi, of course, with the double Spetsnaz cruise stingers going out there to provide both recon and air defense. And Tman's forces are actually getting deployed pretty defensively outside of just using the obvious forward deployment advantage and taking Gregory. There are not a lot of daring deployment for Tman. I think Tman's kind of smells that the natural counter on this map, it being so wide, is to start out building up your BMP 1s, BMP 2s, all of them reasonably cheap and very effective. And Tman is going to take time to actually build up any kind of a front line with the tanks. So Nocturna is incentivized to get the T72s out early. It's also wouldn't be the first time that a player has overinvested in infantry, playing an infantry division. It wouldn't be the first time that Tman has even done that. It doesn't seem to be the case right now, though.
Yeah, we have a lot of T72 even 2 plus one of the units that I really want to highlight here up the north, the SVO, which is the baby Buratino with thermobaric rockets that absolutely annihilate infantry concentrations. So in the fight of Boris, that is going to play a big role. It's relatively expensive to resupply. Its range is absolutely terrible compared to other artillery pieces, but you can get it into good spots in the north, either by having it below the cliff or at your side of the forest. So that is likely going to be able to swing that infantry fight in the forest on its own, and it is pretty affordable, 150 points. So that is going to be helpful, while Nocturna's forces for the south are only like standard small multi-strikes, but still enough to give him a bit of a breather. But really, the big fight is going to be up north.
Yeah, the SVO is the only weapon on the field that a medieval Chinese general would recognize. It's already pre-targeting into the area that the Zenichi Pruskomnichi, the engineers, are already pushing. Recon engineers being a nice little compromise between doing recon and doing shock troop work. And the lack of AT weapons isn't as crucial when you're buying them with two T-72s. T-72s, which, by the way, are getting spotted in a moment, I think, as they're going to be opening fire on the BMPs.
Yeah, first BMP goes down here. Easy kill. Second BMP gonna be targeted. ZSU has to get the hell out of there. As the 72s get to aim, get to kill. And it's a classic. It feels like a classic Tman here. Do we have a classic Tman at hand? With him just absolutely butchering an opener? So far, this is for sure in Nocturna's favor. If Nocturna can find a second BMP2, that would be really big. Recon a bit slow there. Follow up to the T-72s after it got stressed out in the forest fight. But yeah, so far I take those traits if I would be Nocturna. And have to be careful a bit in the south there. Can the Stinger infantry get the RPG shot out? No, they can't. So the Motostreltzis will get out there alive as well. And yeah, really good control there for Nocturna in the north. T-62MD comes around. Oh, T-72s can hit the next BMP2. BMP1 goes down in the south, but the Motostreltzis versus the Spetsnaz GAU should have a decent time there. And T-72 even gets hit in the north. BMP2 does survive for now, but full control for Nocturna in Boris. And center for sure is going to go for Tman for now, but you can always contest that at this little point below the ridge as the red team. And
Protoss, the special victims unit is opening fire. It's targeting the forest, and it's likely gonna get the few RPG2s, the RPG units there.
Yeah, fires really quickly. Thermobarics absolutely light it up. You don't want to fire the full salvo. Yeah, those 10 missiles, well done there by Nocturna. Because the reload is so expensive, you want to split out the missiles, the rockets. And the next target going to be like the other forest, where the LPOs currently try to go towards to. SVO, really good job. And so far, Nocturna really maneuvering through this early game fantastically. And yeah, it's a classic Tman game.
Yeah, T-Man is, I mean, 56th, even though they don't have their basically cheating overpowered weaponry for the late game anymore, they still have a really nice kind of medium price niche of a lot of BMP2s and a decent enough amount of T-62s, and the MD variants, the variants with the Bastion missiles with 2,800 meter range are currently the longest range units on the board. T-72S has been bought on Nocturna's side, and that is going to be hard counter this. But yeah, T-Man is gonna have to kind of fight for this. Nocturna has taken control of the crossroads without firing a shot, moving their units from Fedor to take this.
Special GAU finding a rear shot with an RPG-27 on a T-72 from the cliffside. Even plays there with the risky play, getting rewarded. One T-72 E2 down, so getting back a little bit here. But yeah, so far, +1 take for Nocturna and the way better trades in general. Got the BMP2 there in the fight in the north as well. And as I said, the T-72S coming up, and they come up with boost our veterancy as well, meaning that the availability of them might be a bit lower, but you have 3 cards, so you could still bring some on lower veterancy later. But the efficiency and the accuracy on the severe missile, absolutely insane here. 75% 2,800 meter range missile. That is kind of crazy. And yeah, BMP1 wins the fight against the BMP2 here for Nocturna as well. So it's all going according to plan for our player in red so far.
Yeah, T-Man does have a reasonably wide front line. Does have the RPG unit, the infantry unit in the forest south of center, which would be a natural position for a Nocturna to move in. So there's going to be at least a little bit of delay for that. But most of Tman's points are currently getting sent to just try to fight this on really bad terms. With a leader out there buffing everything, the SVO is reloaded and ready to fire. BMPs are already moving to take another ground and to be able to enter the plateau. And the T-72SS, the best tanks in this matchup, are...
Gets hit pretty hard there though. Fuel explosion. T-72S doesn't have smoke anymore, it seems like. Or does it not want to use the smoke? It's just really close. Down to 1 hit point. It's getting out for now. Igla pushing back the Mi-24. One more BMP2 with a side push of the T-62MD there on the hill coming around. Second T-72S now getting involved. A lot of damage. Multi-strategy RPGs engaging the T-62 on the hill. Getting some hits there as well. But the T-62 just abusing the number game currently a bit. And at the same time, Nocturna did a bit of a hiccup in the south. Way overplaying their card there. And putting in units way too close to Gregory, getting them killed in transport. Not expecting as many forces and not expecting Tman to realize how much of an advantage Tman has there. So Tman got even further ahead in the southern flank. That might bite Nocturna in the long run. But for now, the fighting in the north is going okay, as Nocturna got more ground, but they didn't get the kills this time around. So the two T-72Ss are still alive, and that is the key factor here.
Yeah, third one just got bought for that same front line, and that's almost a minute's worth of income. Meanwhile, Tman is pushing now with fire superiority, as you said, and taking control of the crossroads. There's a tank out here to try to support the single Pruskumnici unit, and that's not good. The RPG-26s and RPG-7s are the ranges are so good to fight against this tank. There needs to be infantry reinforcements and fast. Though Tman's infantry currently getting burned out up north here and has not been able to secure the entry point into the plateau. There's only a wounded helicopter with no ammunition. There's a wounded T-62 and a 4-man infantry squad and a Conquerors, to be fair.
Yeah, T-72Ss here keep on pushing. Get another hit against the T-62MD. It's down to 2 hit points. It's still alive though, as the SVO got reloaded here. Did cost a lot of ammunition, so the T-72S resupply actually not going so hot right now. But T-62MD got taken care of. T-72E2 now pushing with the gun against the T-62s, but the T-72S is getting closer as well to help out doing the same thing. And in the gun range engagements, yeah, the T-62s don't stand a chance. They have way lower armor and a way lower rate of fire as well, whilst their penetration is a bit behind as well. So 2 kills there for the Nocturna. Really important for the long-term engagements there, as Nocturna kind of wants to clean out the north so that they can flank towards center, whilst they have to hold out on Theodore. Nikki with RPG-7VLs. With 18 penetration, getting closer here, and the T-72 EM2 doesn't have anything to spot for it. And that is a problem.
Yeah. Reinforcements were just bought, the BMP2s, but they will not be there on time. It could be that this Desantiki actually just gets it could get a back shot, a side shot here for the T-72 that's so close to not to be spotted. And maybe Nocturna is just saved by Tman's relative passivity down south. Tman unloading and giving a bunch of commands to infantry reinforcements, now wanting to secure the entry road to the plateau. That's basically, if this is like Omaha Beach, Nocturna has now landed and needs to cross through the barricades, needs to break up and climb the hill.
Nocturna with the wrong turn. The MiG-23 got the right kill, but instead of turning south, they did turn north into the Strela, into the Stingers. They could have found an easy kill and get out there on the way out, but they didn't do so. And the MiG-23 at least got the RPG infantry, but dying for it, absolutely not worthwhile. And the T-72S numbers now really high in the north, but they haven't found a way to be active in the last couple of minutes. SVO will clean up the northern hill. That is a great usage of the SVO. But the T-72S is currently not able to engage, not able to even to spot what's firing at them. That's a problem as well here. Recon infantry maybe needs to push up a bit more. SVO now firing again. And will take out the RPG infantry there, no problem. Stopped firing again at the right moment. Maybe even...
Now Tman is advancing now on the highway, but Nocturna's reinforcements were there just in time, and the T-72 has also managed to move out of AT rocket range. So a series of passivity and a little bit of good luck for Nocturna here, and may be able to fight this. But Tman is rerouting BMP2s to get into the backpoint at Elena, just completely calling the amount of equipment that Nocturna has here, and calling the fact that Nocturna probably there is a line in the defenses somewhere. There's a gap, and BMP2s now engaging a Pruskunichi unit, blinding Nocturna's defenses up the plateau, and then moving back to Elena.
Yeah, I'm not sure Nocturna really realized it, because at the same time we have engagements in the north where there was a T-72S killed off in, and once more, not a good engagement there for Nocturna in the north. Okay, they have realized what's going on. T-72 ME3 is on the way, MI-24D is on the way as well. So the BMP2s will be answered, but they gonna create a bit of a disturbance, whilst at the same time the engagements in the north here, Tman really abused Nocturna just standing still on an open field there and set up the engagement so that the T-72S could be side-shotted and could be killed. And now the BMP2s here keep on moving forward. MI-24D keeps an eye on them for now. But once they are in the forest, you can't just push them with the helicopter. The helicopter will get gunned down by them. And the Bellageour is ready to follow them up and is ready to get into the point and start to get a decent take on here. MI-24 needs to get the hell out of there. Has to disengage away from the fire. Isn't doing that just yet. Nocturna not microing here right now. Still busy with the engagements in the middle. MI-24 now tries to get out, but gets shut down. Massive and absolutely unnecessary loss there from Nocturna. Now has a T-72 E3 that can't spot the whole situation. Showing side armor. Oh, okay.
No.
That breaks line of sight by getting into cover just in time. Not get hit. That would have been devastating. But the T-72Ss and the BMP-1 from the middle try to rotate around, but there is a Modra with an RPG-26 waiting in ambush. So this could be a big mistake as well. This is the issue when you have to rotate tanks around and you don't have the recon forces around anymore. There are no Svatavas with these tanks, so the Modra might just get a rear shot here. They move just outside of its range. Big luck there for Nocturna that they rotated the units around there like that. Whilst the Strelky and the T-72 in the middle get a decent push out, get a BMP-2 killed, and BMP-2s plus T-72s should be able to clean this all up again. There is a T-62 there as well on the other side, but Recon BMP-2 for normal BMP-2, that's a fine trade. T-72 is routed. It gets shot here by the BMP-2. Okay, the BMP-2 doesn't get the kill just yet, but will likely get another missile towards it. T-72 ME2 being routed is a problem. The BMP-2s in the rear all get cleaned up in the forest fight, so Nocturna's move did work for now there. Did clean it up at least. Will need a new CV, but that is on the way. But that means now his northern flank is a bit more open. He still gets a kill against the T-62 up there. This game is getting pretty wild right now. I don't think I have seen movement like this on this map before, but really cool move from Tman. I'm not sure if it was worthwhile in the long run, but at least it gave him a +3 for now.
I think that +3 for now is going to be really worthwhile in the long run. Like, Nocturna has kind of been successfully contained. Tman sacrificed a bunch of units and fought some reasonably bad engagements, but Nocturna's, most of their units are on Boris, and now Nocturna has saved up enough reinforcements. There's a massive mech attack going in both in the highway and the middle of the plateau, but even then, like, holding those troops in Boris is kind of relevant because otherwise Tman has enough forces to punish moving them off. And Tman like thrives in these sorts of situations, thrives in outlasting the opponent and getting strategic victories instead of necessarily tactical victories. And right now we're seeing that like those that highway attack there, T-Man has a bunch of planes that we have not seen yet. There's not a lot of anti-air, especially not on the southern area. As I say that, an OSA gets spot there, but there with the Mi-24B being able to move around with its really long range Cocon rockets, the momentum has kind of moved into T-Man's favor.
Yeah, we see the OSA coming up. We see a couple more infantry coming up. Tman at a +1. The northern point should still be pretty secure here for Nocturna with the SVO, with 2 T-72Ss there still in service and then another T-72 in front, but currently pretty contained with the Conquerors and the T-62 north of it that stop any easy flanking maneuver towards the south. SVO could maybe clean up the hill fortress there once more with a couple of rockets, but the more important parts are the fights now in the south. The RPG-16 with its long-range launcher engaging some T-72s there, and the infantry of Nocturna needs to get involved in this. In the meantime here, BTRs trying to flank. Tman has to be careful to not overextend here, because if all this infantry dies, then there might be an easy win. MiG-27 coming around. MiG-23 and OSA should be able to clean this up. There we go. 1 T-72 E3 going down for it. That's a fair trade for Nocturna. MiG-23 gets shut down as well, though. So in the end, Tman still with a good trade there. Mi-24 coming around again. Getting a decent amount of rocket shots out as well. And the T-72Ss being stuck and not really doing anything right now, that's an issue for Nocturna. Needs to get those back into action here.
Yeah, what is Nocturna gonna do here except try to like keep up and trade well against T-Man? But on the long term, T-Man is still ticking 1 point up, and I think T-Man is happy sacrificing the occasional infantry squads to keep up this +1 tick.
Ooh, also gets a stun there on the Mi-24. That means it will be able to get another missile on it. Gets a kill. Important one there. These helicopters have the chance of being an absolute nuisance for a long time. The Desjant RPG-16 and the T-62s trying to push forward, but there are T-72Ss here now around. Artillery gets the RPG-22 immediately. The whole plan was to get a leader into the zone, which could contest this part, but the T-62s just don't stand a chance here, so they have to get the hell out of here. T-72S this time around does miss, but another push here with the T-62 MD does end up with it getting stunned down, and now Nocturna can clean it up, and now Nocturna kinda has a relatively easy way towards Dimitri, with Tman desperately trying to get reinforcements in, but so does Nocturna, and I feel like Nocturna has a good momentum here. If they can keep this going, this could end up pretty dangerous for the whole Dimitri position, but also Sander and Gregory next to it, with the Nocturna here being able to put a lot of pressure on.
Yeah, T-Man has a bunch of tanks and some BMPs in the middle, the center position that could be moved pretty quickly to intercept here. But also, if they get caught out on the open, that's just free kills for Nocturna's better tanks. And with Nocturna not running out of veteran T-72s, at least not yet, the pressure is going to keep on happening. I think T-Man probably is going to start running low, especially on the Bastion armed. Yeah, there are no Bastion armed vehicles. The MD1s are getting put into positions to basically sideshot the tanks when they move into Dimitri, not even challenge them on the open.
Yeah, the OT-62s and the Sinistra here now trying to scout this whole thing out. OSA can react quickly to these Mi-24s, so the Mi-24 really useful helicopter here with the Cocons and the good 122mm rockets, but the OSA should be able to contain it relatively quickly and create an umbrella around this armored force that the helicopter can't easily get into. Forces the Mi-24 to disengage here once more now. BMP2 on the hill gets shut down as well. So trade BMP2 for BMP2, whilst 14 men Treasure Nickies here with RPG 22s. They have 8 of those, but they only have 15 pen, so they don't deal much damage frontally. So if you have these 72s that are full life, and you have a couple of them, you can just drive through them. Like, this is the big issue here for Tman's infantry right now, that if Nocturna realizes that he can just take the frontal charge, he can just charge in them, kill them, repair, and do it again. And with that, be in here in the rear in a couple of minutes. But the 700 points start to become a real issue for Nocturna. 18 minutes are still enough time to turn this around, but we know this is a slow tick map. We know you have to get your advantage wherever you can get it, and you have to stop the tick as soon as possible from the enemy. And Nocturna has to charge somewhere here, closer to a capture point in the next couple of minutes. Either race south to get a +1 there, or dive deep into Dimitri.
Or alternatively, do a pincer attack on both sides in the center, which would be the most risky, but also the coolest option.
Yeah, T-72S here, pushing forward, gets an ATGM towards the T-62 on the low ground. Both sides do miss for now. Ooh, we have another Conqueror's position here on the hill. The Dana hasn't been fired in a while, but now, yeah, immediately aims onto the Conqueror's position. And Tman hasn't moved that yet, so should be able to get it. Good hits there. T-72S goes down. A bit of a flanking position here for Tman with the RPG infantry pushing along behind and getting some shots out there. Smoke comes out. Conqueror's likely gonna eat the artillery. Yeah, Dana gets the kill there. As Motostreltsy infantry pushes forward, T-62s get hit by just being around in the wrong neighborhood there for a second, but the ones on the low ground still helping out as well. The double Mi-24 here around, and the OSA on the wrong side of the forest. Why did it disengage there? Oh, one T-72 goes down, another one in trouble. The other ones in the front just don't see anything here. Having to disengage once more, once get side-shotted. 3 T-72s down. Oh, Tman with a masterful ambush here, and Nocturna getting punished for the lack of recon, getting punished for just being too open on the flank here in the south. Like, the recon infantry not being able to spot enough, not enough infantry around for the flanking, and then not decisive enough to either push south or north, and being pincered between both. Really efficient engagement by Tman, and oh, this might have just won Tman the game, because Nocturna doesn't have the forces now to push anymore, and will have to wait a long time to recover, and with the +1 going on, I'm not sure he has this time.
Yeah, do the SVO come 1 per card or 2 per card? Because if they got...
They come 2 per card, I believe, but yeah.
Yeah, because that could have been really nice against those 2 RPG 22 massive infantry squads there. Like, yeah, like I think like Nocturna realized the same thing that I did. Like, well, he's gonna reposition his stuff from the north, so I can just get a nice high ground and destroy them a long range. But with the RPG 22 infantry being there threatening the flank, and then also the participation of the T-62s and the Mi-24s, the OSA, there was 2 OSA, but neither of them were in position. The one that was supposed to cover that line was just barely getting there. So those moments, as you said, like I think this suddenly with the Motostreltsy just walking up there and Nitsi in the front line here, this is dangerously looking like a concave.
Yeah, BMP2s here keeping up the fire. Dana's not able to engage. Nocturna now swinging around with all the forces from the north, giving up the pincer, bringing around the SVO, bringing around the T-72s here to the southern flank, and just trying to get one more push out of this. But yeah, losing 3 tanks without getting any of the enemies, whilst you have the higher quality tanks on paper, is a really big issue here. Next engagement for T-72S that is not looking all that hot. Gets the kill at least. BMP2 coming around the corner. BMP1 not able to get a gun hit. Can't find the stun at least, with 2 more T-72s pushing forward. But now we have the massive BMP2 spam, and this is why 56 is so strong and was so OP in the past. is because they can bring around all that mechanized infantry that can give you all the ATGMs once you get an advantage to just hunker down on it. Nocturna still with the losses in the south that he just can't afford, that have started early on, and they just keep on happening. Underestimating how much space he has given Tman and how much space Tman has taken there. 2 more ambushes on infantry and transport with the Motostreltsy there, trying to take ground. And yeah, BMP2s get shot up in the front. And like all IFVs, if you try to push with them on their own, they are pretty flimsy, so T-72s can just eat them up. But Nocturna now in an okay spot when it comes to being stable on the front line again, but still getting ticked here, and we have nearly 1,000 points in for Tman, and this is really the issue with 13 minutes rest on this map, as this would mean that you need a +3 to get it back, and yeah, how do you get a +3 on this map? This is so hard.
Yeah, the like 56 really is a heavy infantry division with a bunch of heavy equipment and BMPs that they get. Like they can, if they want to, just keep feeding infantry and keep feeding BMP2s to keep Nocturna here. Like Nocturna has this massive group, all of them just concentrated in the wrong position. And yeah, I really don't know. It's you could maybe even just take like 4 tanks out of there and move them, reposition them to get up the plateau at the center. Like there's just less enemies firing at them in that direction. But I think Nocturna is trying to go through this, and the SVO is opening fire at the perfect position here, it seems. Just will it be enough?
Yeah, SVO coming in with great hits, annihilating all the Dejant RPG-22 and RPG-7 units there. The T-72s taking good engagements, but what I really wonder is, where are the Svatavas here, Nocturna? Like, the T-72s, time and time again, struggled with line of sight, and usually the way to fix that on this, with this division, is the amazing recon vehicle, the Svatava, which is a BRM with an ATGM, and the BRM already is a fantastic recon vehicle for most packed nations, and the Czechoslovaks even have a better one. So why is that not around? I'm not quite sure.
There are 3 cards: the Moto Pruskomnitsy, the regular Pruskomnitsy, and then the Engineer Pruskomnitsy. And I think that was just the most that Nocturna was willing to pay. I think the Svatava just got cut because the Engineers were not cut, because the Engineers were part of the opener, so the Svatava got cut.
Yeah, but that, like, I feel like if you play a map like this where you have to field your T-72 armies, like, not having the exceptional optics to find the enemy ATGMs, to find the enemy long-range shots at you, is just such a massive issue. Like, the Moto Proximity, they don't spot that well. They only have very good optics. They are good on the defense, they are good for infantry and so on, but they don't spot the ATGM on the other side of the big plateau. They don't spot the even the T-62 M1D maybe in the other on the other side firing their.
They do spot the M1D.
Yeah.
They do spot the ND1.
Yeah, but
nothing else.
The BMP2s here now coming forward, and that's the big issue here now. T-72s still fighting, but the 10 minutes are just not enough on this map, and yeah, such a well executed hold there from Tman in the south, just grinding this hold all to a hold, and now there is just not enough room and time for to maneuver here for Nocturna. Gets another great hit with the SVO. SVO, absolute banger of a unit in this game, but everything else currently just not generating the time and the value that you want. And yeah, 56 did do the job of 56, just having ATGM and a decent unit everywhere on the battlefield now. And with the early game advantage in points that got handed to it by Nocturna, because Nocturna focused so much on the north and then couldn't keep the momentum up, and then couldn't create the momentum again in the south. Seems like this is going to be really painful to get through. Like, he needs to get into the real line and then get into the south at the same time, and there's just too much stuff coming out.
Yeah, the recon Moto Pruskomnitsy is not moving in with the force here, which I think is a mistake, because now whatever engagements are going to happen, they're going to be slowed down by the fact that the multiple Skrumnitsa is not there, and even more recon, even more infantry, just getting fed by the Tman war machine. The RPG 16s have more than 1,000 meters of range, so they can be positioned uphill and they can side shot or threaten side shots at units driving on the road.
Yeah, both MiG-27Ks go down here, so not a cost-efficient trade for Tman, but Tman is not about the cost efficiency at this point. He's just about the time, and he is more than 1,000 points ahead now, and they are less than 10 minutes, meaning that, yeah, the +4 is more and more becoming the thing that Nocturna has to go for, and yeah, every second ticking by here, that becomes more unlikely that he gets there, and more apparent that he gets there at the same time, so he is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and the only thing that maybe could work is a bit of a Hail Mary push right now, but he has only 5 tanks ready to go, a good couple of them not fully repaired. He has a bit of movement in the south. He keeps trading okay right now, but just trading okay is not enough at this point anymore if you give the enemy this much time. The BMP-1 in the middle, yeah, taking the tick away at least, but is not protected by anything right now. So if Tman decides to go for it, they can clean it up again. But Nocturna...
The smoke allows Tman to send in those northern forces to act as fire support here, basically. And now Nocturna is buying a bunch of fagots at this point to just reinforce that line. But that's a defensive unit. Nocturna, you need to be getting out there. You need to, like, some big plays. And the big play that is happening here is the attack on Gregory, I think. BMP-2s here and a T-62, even with the OSA preventing the helicopters from interfering. Not enough troops here for Tman plays to stop this, but more than enough to just kind of hold it and slow it down, crucially slow it down. Yeah, Tman is not like a KDR player. Tman is a win the game player, and units are a resource. You want to use them to win the game.
Yeah, we see BTRs and mod rifles going down in the south, and Nocturna is now winning the fight there. Doesn't have a CV right behind us. This is a big mistake. The BMP-1s should have immediately rotated down there if you would want to have a chance there. He gets the tick in the middle right now. Like, if he would have a one at Gregory right at this moment with the push, there would be a chance of getting enough points around if he then goes maybe to Dimitri later on as well.
Oh no, but RPG-22s against a stacked group of vehicles.
They get stunned down too quickly here. But the second one is coming around the flank. The vehicles do a good amount of the effort there to stun us down and get it killed before it can get another engagement. The second one now coming around, so the fire has to be a bit split. But yes, the first one goes down, second one will get stunned down as well. The infantry in the center pushes on, the T-72s move around, but still no unit to capture Gregory. Quite close to Gregory. There is a T-72 leader slowly moving there. But with only 5 minutes remaining, yeah, you need more than a +4 at this stage. You need a +5, +6, and this is just not going to happen here. BMP-2s get shut down as, yeah, the big hold up in the southern push was what swung the game. It's still going better right now for the forces of Nocturna, but the points have been gained, and they will give Tman Place here in the end the victory, because Nocturna just runs out of options here to even gather the points in time.
Yeah, it's just the straightforward. I mean, Division 1 Finals silver medalist for last season, Tman, obviously still up to scruff. Did not get the best opener and played it relatively passively, but just getting that +1 tick going on, managing to. I think the big deal was that Tman recognized an overinvestment in with Nocturna up top. Like, Nocturna went in there and got so many good results, but the end breakthrough never managed to happen. Partly because by that point, Tman was just sending, those 3 BMPs to go in the back line and doing all sort of just trying to relieve the pressure, and relieving the pressure worked. no activity happening in Boris after Tman went on the attack. And 56 is also a really good division to go on the attack. Just getting so many good recon positions, pre-buying units to kind of build these concaves. And even though T-Man could have been way more aggressive, and I think even playing more aggressively could have probably gotten Fedor, and then Fedor would have been recaptured with the SVO most likely being there in the front line. But yeah, passive slow, prepared gameplay does beat even way stronger units. And the T72S is a way stronger unit in this case.
Yeah, even now, Gregory hasn't been captured yet by Nocturna. And I think the big issue was the Boris push not moving anywhere. Like, he stuck with 3 T72s just on the open field, not knowing what to do with them, keeping on feeding more T72s without... Yeah, his plan was cleaning up north and then pushing south. And then when he did realize that Tman was playing north so defensively that he couldn't just easily clean it, he didn't quite know where to go. Believe the answer would have been using the SVO like they did to clean up the hill and then just push the hill. And maybe even a bit further south, there is another lane where you can go up. It does look like a cliffside, but you can move up there and just push center from there. Ignore the units in the north because they are defensive units only, and push center. But the C72Ss were super idle. Even a couple of them getting picked off because of them being so idle and being able to get flanked. And yeah, then Tman did it again in the south, where Nocturna was just too slow, allowing Tman to get the perfect trap ready. And then when the units of the Nocturna started moving, they got trapped, they got murdered. And now Nocturna finally has the power in here, because they did get a lot of good engagements. They had the right composition of units. They just not always had them at the right spot. So they finally get a tick, but this is going to be really rough now.
It's not that, like, Nocturna has been relatively passive, especially with the Boris attack. But like down south here, I think T-Man deserves a lot of credit for keeping Nocturna passive. And T-Man did that a lot of the time by just sacrificing units. But those units that got sacrificed were microed and were, like, even right now, the RPG-22's holding and preventing the enemy from moving up this, capturing this flank here. You know, this is a suicide mission, but it's just stalling the entire movement, and like everything is getting stalled here.
RPG-22 is here, getting killed off. 22Ss moving around. Bulkies moving around. Fagots try to get the kill there. P1 gets the shot here on the side. Gets the kill there. And we have more T-72s moving forward. RT pushing forward as well. Else we have BMP2s on the other side holding the flank. But yeah, even now the tick has been stopped again. Even now, Tman still finds a way to get through the front line and get into the rear, and maybe even the tick back online there. Dana in direct fire role might be the only thing stopping this from happening. Nope. Tman even gets a tick in here in the last seconds to rub it in that he had control of the battlefield all along, even though the engagements weren't going into his favor. But yep, the clumsy armored division couldn't quite get it done here, and Tman even holding with a Bellator there at Gregory, just barely, but holding out with that.
Unironically, getting the second SVO earlier, or just repositioning the original SVO, I think it could have been doing a lot there. That's a really like tight corner with a bunch of infantry. Like that, T-Man was stacking infantry there, and just look at how well the Nocturna traded. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Nobody does it like T-Man. The lower the KDR, the better T-Man played that game. Seriously.
Yeah, job well done here by Tman, getting it with an 0.8 KD, but just knowing how to play it from the get-go. After, well, not quite from the get-go, as I said, the opener was a classic Tman move of having the wrong units at the wrong time there and the north, but just immediately reacting to what they saw, and knowing that he would be on the back foot, knowing that he would have to play it through another lane whilst having to buy as much time as possible there, and he bought immense amount of time with how he took the engagements in North. Still investing there, but never overextending. And yeah, in the end, Nocturna never getting cleaned out there. And in the end, Nocturna getting a good game in here, but not a victory, even getting the 2-0. And one more step closer to the place where we expect them, being the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Next game, Stardekk versus TiberiusRancor. Very excited.
Yeah. Quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with two of our WARNO all times favorites coming around once more. So quick break, guys, and then we have the second series of the day ready for you. Here we return, everybody. Game number 2 of the day. TiberiusRancor versus Stardekk. And we have a bit of a deja vu here. Both in the map and in divisions to the first series, though it's the same divisions as in game 1, but the same map as in game 2. With Tiberius, as he's always doing it, playing the French when he can. And maybe activating Stardekk's trap card here? Question mark. Or can he make it work on a map where he has a bit more space here against the 7th Panzer of Stardekk? The maps, the picks and bans here, pretty standard all around. 20th Panzer, 5th Eplinde, 2nd Panzergrenadier, Div Mob, Tankova, 56 VDV. Nothing out of the ordinary. Second map picks 1st Canadian versus 8th US on Chandra. Gonna be a hot one as well. And yeah, gonna be interesting to see if Tiberius, with all the years of experience on 5th Blinde, with being the most French-biased French player out there, it can make it work, or if Stardekk can do it just like Tman could and stop the push here with the East German powerhouse of 7th Panzer.
Yeah, here we can see Stardekk is doing the standard, pretty similar to the last game, actually, doing a 2 T-72, 2 Motorschützen, and attack or kind of a landing on the Boris. And really just under-investing from everything else with like a limited recon screen for the rest of the points, not even trying to go to Gregory, which is probably the correct choice. There's no way to efficiently deal with the commandos in that position, and the commandos are going to be there first. And I think a bunch of points for Stardekk are currently in airplanes, because otherwise I would expect to see maybe a little bit more stuff. And Tiberius is heavily invested in stopping the enemy on their tracks, trying to get the commandos there and to prevent the actual unloading inside the forest. If you can do that, that is one of the best positions that you can be in, because then you can move your mech, in this case the two AMX-30s. You can just move them slightly to the right, and they can fight together with your concealed infantry against the enemy on open ground. Like, if this can be managed, if they get there on time, if there are no bombers, no fighters to intercept these commandos, the Tiberius could open this on a really strong note.
Yeah. But on the other side, if the MI-24D can catch up the infantry, can catch up the AMX-10 RCs, there might be a bit of an issue here for Tiberius as well. From what we see so far, I would expect fighters at least on the side of Tiberius. Question is, will we see fighters on the other side as well? And I feel like there is price for at least one MiG-23 here as well on the other side. So this is going to be an interesting opener with potential for air gambling coming in here, as both sides fighters are relatively similar in strength. Okay, it's not even MiG-23s, it's MiG-21s on the side of Stardekk. And Tiberius, where are your fighters? No fighters on Tiberius sides. What the hell? Tiberius, where are your fighters? How are there no fighters, Tiberius? The commandos are in big trouble here. The Super Pumas open to attack. One of them goes down. There should be enough money for
Mistral
fighters.
Has to carry this. No.
That is not 1,500 points, is it? What? Okay, that I guess the Super Puma commandos are pretty expensive and all, but okay, this is an absolute devastation. The commandos have to unload early, one of them getting killed off. The Mi-24 still getting a lot of value here. Me too, getting shut down, but Mi-24 can go for the AMX-10, forces that back. Group anti-char here in trouble as well. Commandos in the north at least get unloaded as the Me-2 goes deeper. There comes Mirage 2000 running into the trap card of the MiG-21 directly being behind it. Oh god, this is absolutely devastating. MiG-21 number 2 coming around for it. Getting a hit. At least not being able to kill the Mirage, but
all the weapons for the MiGs have run out already. Getting to fire all of their weapons and not losing one of those fighters, insane value for Stardekk. Like, Tiberius was just completely caught out there by that play. Maybe it would have been better to cut off like one of the command tanks off and get a fighter instead. But that was an unfortunate blind spot for Tiberius.
Yeah, now he's
Maybe
about
Tiberius
to...
getting washed by the younger generation. Who knows?
And now Tiberius is about to enter a CQC fight with T-72s. Like, this is not boding well for his units here. At least Stardekk is a bit slow here maybe as well. But yeah, T-72 now moving north, sees the Super Blinde. That Super Blinde is cooked. I have no idea why Tiberius would move it along that open axis. Like, you have to expect a T-72 down there, and your AMX and RC just doesn't stand a chance in a fight there. So, especially if it used up its smoke already, that was a terrible engagement. Bren is now trying to move in here, but yeah, that's up against T-55s in the CQC fight as well, and the T-72s. That is in a terrible situation as well. Krupa anti-char there getting cooked as well. Yeah, this is terrible. Mistral will find the Meteor in the south. One T-72 at least gets killed off there by the MX-10 from up top on the hill, which still tries to find more value here, but is playing an insanely dangerous game here. Missing against the BMP-1, gets routed, should at least get away with its life, but yeah, Tiberius still trying to play the base game plan after that opener is kind of absurd, and his AMXs here are just up there to get killed. Next one goes down, and like, this is going even worse than Tman's opener, and Tiberius, not known for being a passive and a player who takes his time and waits like Tman for the next good opportunity. Tiberius usually wants to go blow for blow, but this is not blow for blow. He is just eating it like the Monty Python Black Knight, saying, this is fine, whilst losing an arm, a leg, and everything here. Like, this game is so over.
Yeah, it's like that blind spot was like gigantic, and there are no ATGMs to come to counter this. There are only a Gazelle Cannon with 2 AMX-30B2s, and AMX-30B2s alone will not do this. They will not win this. The ATGMs could maybe contain T-72s on long range, working together with some recon. That would be more difficult to deal with, but AMX-30s are just like kind of free meals, really, for this attack.
Yeah, and I still have to ask, like, what were you thinking, Tiberius, when you tried to open with 3 transport helicopters against a division with cheap fighters and don't bring a single fighter of your own? Like, that never works. Like, that is not a gamble, especially on a map that is known for helicopter transport, that is known for air fights in the beginning. Like, not like Stardekk is just gonna skip that. He knows the map, he knows what the enemy division can bring, and he knows how to play the game. And those MiG-21s were just so obvious to come around, them or a MiG-23. Like, there had to be a fighter in the opener, so not having any fighters of your own and just leaving it open to that is a massive mistake. That you maybe only bring 1 fighter, sure, and don't double it, and then you still maybe get punished, but at least you went for the gamble there. But this was more than a gamble. This was just reckless behavior here, and now the French just driving into the close range fights in the south. Like, yeah, this is not going to end well here. Coop and Chilka hitting this so hard, but
There's a
Mirage goes down as well.
That's running off before it becomes taken out by the T-55. And yeah, but Stardekk is already kind of moving onto the main plateau. And meanwhile, Tiberius has just built up a tank force here to fight the way more powerful tank force on long range, on attack, without support, and with a single Eclaireur squad moving in to do spotting. They're not really. If this is recoverable, I'm willing to be proven wrong, but I say it is not.
Yeah, AMX-30 now might find a good side shot in the north. Nope, it doesn't. But that's unfortunate. That is just bad luck there, fighting Tiberius now as well. Missing a second shot on that range. But it will hit the third, so does the T-55. It has the faster reload, so should get the next shot out decently ahead of time and get the kill there. But Mod Aufklärers Mordschützen coming around already. So the MX-30 has to get the hell out of there. Might just get killed by a BMP-1 here. No, it gets the kill there as well. Okay, good micro from Tiberius. The flank on Fedor still could be a way into this if he would have more forces left in the south, but he lost so much stuff there that Stardekk just decides to push through the center into center, and there's nothing there to stop him. No ATGM wall, no Prentices that can guide him. Like there's one tank right now that is also driving closer, and yeah,
not even the airspace to send in Gazelle Hots because there's a bunch of MiGs flying around. Now Jaguar coming in there and trying to punish the open push, but
does miss its missile. The Jaguar AT, always a bit of a gamble, and MiG-21s now making it even more so, getting the missiles out against it. Keep on missing as the MX-13 start to get involved against them, but yeah, pushing Prentices into T-72s is not the way how you want to use Prentices. You want to fight from as long away as possible, so giving them the luxury of getting immediately into gun range when the fight starts is not what you want to have happen there. And that's why I don't understand the push in the south. Like, you have to know if the enemy puts the double fighter strike down in the south that they will push Boris, then you have to adjust and give up Boris. Like, trying to still go for it with your MX-30s against T-72s is just not the play, especially on a map where you have so many open fields, where your extra range, where your extra gameplay can come in. But yeah, 7th Panzer is such a strong division in this matchup. 5th Blindé has been reduced and nerfed, so this is not just an OP division going through anymore. And as I said, I feel like Stardekk created the perfect trap here, knowing that Tiberius is a big 5th Blindé fanboy. And yeah, the 5th Blindé pick was pretty obvious, and Stardekk was well prepared for it, and so far has shut it down perfectly, getting the tick now. And there's so little left here on the map for our player blue.
All the divisions that got banned by Tiberius, 20th Polish, 2nd Panzergrenadier, and 4th Divisia, all of these are like very good counters against 5th. And you know, some people have complained about the limited number of bans that you give out in the league rules, meaning that with the number of T-72 divisions in the game, divisions like 5e are always going to have to face T-72 divisions. Just no way to really get all of them out, and also get out a bunch of other like really powerful hard counters. And I don't really have like a strong opinion on this, but I think it does mean that with our current 2 expansions in this game and with our league rule set, like 5e is maybe a little bit obsolete. Like if you're playing 5e against a player who can bring out a like very good gameplay on like a medium tank division.
I mean, you try to make that point out of a game here right now where the opener was just butchered. Like, that doesn't matter with what division you do this opener. I don't think 5e is obsolete. I think it's risky to pick it first pick, maybe, if 7th Panzer is open. And you maybe shouldn't do it first pick. Maybe pick it in game number 2, Tiberius. But, yeah, picking 5th Blindé here as the first pick, and then also, like, completely ignoring the rules of the map, and then playing on as if your opener that absolutely failed did work. Like, this is just not the way, and it's so weird to see. And it's always funny with TiberiusRancor because he can be the most dominant player when he gets his game going, and he can also be like the one that feels like you can't stop him. And then if he doesn't get his opener, he just falls flat. Like, this is still not Tiberius being like, this is Tiberius always. Like, he always had games like this. So I wouldn't count him out of this season. I wouldn't count it even out of this series. But this first game here is just Tiberius absolutely falling flat because he still tried to go for his punch-for-punch gameplay after his opener just completely falls flat with divisions that just don't allow for that kind of gameplay against each other. And it's so funny to see how even Division 1 players can fall for just easy and, from our perspective, obvious mistakes, but obviously it's always harder when you're in the player seat when you don't have this God's Eye view. And yeah, it also shows how Tiberius still is a Division 1 caliber player, even with this flaw. And that shows you how strong he is when he is on his good streaks.
Yeah, I think you're correct about it's not that 5e is obsolete, but yeah, 5e is kind of maybe relegated into a second pick now. And this would mean that arguably TiberiusRancor is obsolete with the league rules. But, you know, that's like you say, this is not really a representative sample of a game. It's just that like T55 and T72 combined mid-game tank attacks and even early game tank attacks are just really good. They are. And on some maps, such as this one, the bonuses that the French get, including the really powerful AT weapons on long ranges, they don't get as much use. They're not as realistic of a counter, really.
Yeah, Gazelle Hot gets shut down there. AMX off 1 coming in. And the 7th Panzer here is trying its best to keep dust the pressure up and is doing a really good job there. But Tiberius is still not ready to give up just yet. But the forces here are like, he has like 600 points or so on the board right now. What's on the other side there stands 2,000 plus points for Stardekk. It's not a fair fight at all at any front right now. Every front, Tiberius is heavily outnumbered, and he still tries to get more stuff in. He still tries to go force pound-to-pound playstyle with driving AMX 30s there into the fight in the north. Trying to find maybe a weak spot, maybe trying to find a way to ambush, but Stardekk is known to be a really like methodical player in those aggressive moments. And yeah, he just cleared us up and gets a W here. And 3-1 KD nearly is not something that we see very often in Division 1, especially not between players like this. But yeah, this really was Stardekk reading Tiberius like a book and completely dismantling him.
Yeah, or arguably Tiberius. Imagine a what do you call the running Olympic running where they jump over the fences, like fence jumping? Yeah, imagine that. But when the first fence comes in, TiberiusRancor like trips and falls his face on the first fence.
You mean
I think that's kind of what
yeah,
happened here.
the hurdling?
Also.
The hurdle races. Yeah, he just took the first one and just decided to run through all the other ones as well, believing that, oh yeah, if I take the first one, I might as well run through all of them and see if I'm still faster. Maybe even carrying them with me. But that's not quite how that is supposed to be done. And yeah, in the end, thought I got a really clean win here. As I said though, Tiberius has had games like this in previous seasons and still made it really deep into the tournament because he is so good when he gets the pound-to-pound gameplay going. So I don't count him out of this series. Games like this happen to him, and I believe he is pretty capable of just leaving them behind, moving on to the next one. So I'm pretty excited to see what the next one has for us, as we're gonna go into first Canadian gameplay there. So maybe he can find a new replacement there for the 5th plane day with his at least partially French-speaking first Canadian against 8th US Infantry, a division that has seen a bit of a resurgence lately. So we still haven't seen it doing all that well in League so far. Maybe Stardekk is the one to change that. Let's see after a quick break. come back to a map that has become really, really popular this season, and that is Chandra. It is really one of Eugen's best creations so far. It is a pretty mirrored map built around that, and it also creates a lot of cool battlefields all around the map, giving every little division its place to fight. And that's why we ended up with two divisions that can fight at any place on the map, being good all-rounders, 8 VS infantry on the right side, 1st Canadian on the left. Before we jump in, a really quick shout out once more, guys, to the Matcherino, guys, where you can support the tournament by supporting it with a direct contribution to the prize pool. And we will hopefully get more free money in with the codes. Big thanks to all of you for helping out there. But let's see if we can't even just push it on a bit further here the direct way. As currently at $500, big thanks to everybody who contributed. Sequoia Dog here, for example, with $25, 36 with $50, username with 10, and Master E with 40. Getting us over the first 4 stretch goals already. Let's see if we can push it further on with this. And yeah, let's get back into the action here. See what kind of entertainment we can get in here. And if you want to have more people supporting WARNO, seeing WARNO on their YouTube trend, just like the video on YouTube. And if you want to see more of yourself, subscribe down below, follow on Twitch. And yeah, let's get into the action here.
Also, like, comment. I read the comments. I want to know if I'm doing something wrong, if somebody likes something that we are saying, you know. I mean, Protoss, of course, is a complete ice queen, but I take criticism very well, I think. So if you have opinions, you're welcome to share them. Yeah, so 8th US, I believe the most picked division so far in this in the league. And I think I said this earlier, but I think it is because it's powerful enough, but unthreatening enough. Everybody kind of understands it both as how to play against it and how to play it, and it really is just like stands right there at technological superiority and not having a great enough opener to for you to ban, and it becomes, I think, kind of like a reliable pick here. This was hold on, just checking. Yeah, First Canadian is a counter pick to Stardekk here. So Stardekk may have just wanted to figure out to play a standard wide armored division, and 8th US can fill that role pretty well. And with the M1 standard M1 Abramses, especially upvetted, they are a pretty nice tempo unit at only 200 points that can annihilate infantry and light vehicles. And then in the later game, you can get into your M1A1s, which are technologically superior to most divisions in the game. But the Canadians have been so banned in the league so far. We haven't seen them getting paid a lot.
Oh my goodness, and what we will
What
see
is
here,
happening here?
we're gonna see the S-Fam. We're gonna see F-18s. We're gonna see a
for
good
this
sample of them.
reason, for this reason, we have seen them getting banned.
Yeah, the Cougar CP coming around here. We have a Cougar behind it as well. They have gotten a bit cheaper. And yeah, there come the F-18s. Double F-18 fighter here against the F-16 fighter. And they... What the... Okay, they just refused to get a hit there. Okay, that isn't a great opener for Tiberius. And yeah, the triple recon drone even. The fast recon drone CL-84 here. Just jettisoning around. We have the AT rocket opener here as well. Not coming around with the AT rocket helicopters, which is my favorite opener with the Canadian, because the opener with the planes is a bit too expensive for my liking and also a bit too obvious, as we have pivots here being a really good unit against this, but it can get shut down as well. Next F-16 CAA gets behind another F-18 though. Oh, yeah, I'm not liking this for Tiberius right now. His other F-18 gets the F-16 to fall back at least, but he needs more damage done here. AT comes in against the M1 Abrams with side shots and gets it routed and damaged, but doesn't get it killed. Still has more rockets left here, but Cougar's starting to capture it, but there's so little around next to all of this here. So if Stardekk can stabilize this. Stardekk still has a decent game ahead. M150 goes down in the north, so the F-18s do get some value, but now the F-16 is around again. F-18 AA is out again as well. The AT gets hit though. F-16 gets hit as well. Doesn't get the kill. Gets killed on the way out. Cougar goes down on the ground though. Stardekk has taken Foxtrot already, realizing how little his opponent invested in here. Macraki's trying to get into the center, where the Cougar did die. And yeah, Tiberius is spread so thin on this map.
Yeah, so the thing about the Canadians is that they have a really powerful air opener, if you didn't notice. Generally, this opener is played with the mech recce getting bought because these are forward deploying units in helicopters, so they can get into spaces really quickly. And the infantry, including the recon infantry for Canadians, is just really good. Those CH-105 transports are decent enough and cheap enough to buy. And also, you have your 80 rocket helicopter now that you were waiting for. With the 12 penetration, with the accuracy that is given on rockets, is incredible. Like even with the nerfs, the price nerfs on the 80 rocket plane and the 80 rocket helicopter, they are still like the destructive capacity is all the same. You just can't really do the standard opener with them. You have to compromise on something. And here we can see the F-16 AA is performing really well.
Yeah, and there comes the F-16 AA in here. But my I button just stopped working, so I can't... What the hell? My keyboard just refuses to...
So the Leopard the Leopard C1, the Canadian variant, I believe it's identical or almost identical to a Leopard 1A5. It's 110 points. Pretty standard as far as Leopards go, but having Leopard 1s and other light tanks are very good for like divisions that are trying to play aggressively, because having two tanks instead of one expensive tank, two tanks in a recon vehicle instead of a one expensive tank, is the more versatile choice, and is the choice that can deal with infantry and like numbers of enemies easier. Like as long as you have enough air supremacy and you have the helicopters and your ITOs and TOW2s around, those are required to challenge the heaviest tanks. But in just standard fire support tasks, the Leopard C1s are a great unit, and they even have one extra machine gun compared to the European Leopards.
Yeah, the AA here gets pushed out. They have pretty low accuracy for long-range tanks, and penetration on the Leopard C1 is not amazing either when it comes to trying to deal with M1 Abrams on the other side. But you have great ATGM carriers and stuff for that. Issue is that there's so little infantry here right now out on the battlefield, and no fire support, because those planes are expensive that you have to bring around as the Canadians for that air spam. That, yeah, your ground forces are just kind of garbage. And I don't like this air opener myself, because I have lost with it a good couple of times as well, because I just feel it's too expensive. And if you're gambling quite hard with it, and I think the planes are still great enough with the great HCM to work well as an air spam late in the game, that you don't need to air open with it. You can air spam late with the stack. Like, I think that's the strength of Canadians, actually, more so than the air opener, that you can air spam late game because you have enough ECM to dodge enemy AA effectively enough in the late game. And that's the differentiation. But the air opener might be overpriced, and yeah, you're still up for 1v1 engagements there. And there an F-16 has a 30% lower ACM, yeah, but outside of that has similar missiles and can get the kill there. And there goes another F-18HE. So
yeah,
there
I
you
would
go.
say that I would say that the opener with 4 planes is just way too much. You can buy. I would personally buy like one AA plane and one rocket plane, and then a standard ground opener, and then keep buying the planes in the first minutes in case you need them. And the like just like giving out all of those spots for having like one extra rocket plane. Instead, you can have a rocket helicopter. You can the helicopters are also covered by your air supremacy. And one of the things that I think makes the Hornet so good is that when you in the late game, as you said, or in the mid game, have a number of them, they have such great stats, and even the bombers and even the rocket planes have the Leopard, the L missile, AIM-9Ls, so the second best heat seekers in this case, and so you can basically, and also the cannons, and also the the ECM and the speed and all of this put together means that they can very effectively support or like pursue planes that are
Oh,
after your AA plane.
no, Leopard 1C goes down here as well. Oh no, the next one immediately gets penned as well. Yeah, TiberiusRancor just playing completely recklessly here in this matchup and just loses another Leopard C1 there, gets completely taken apart, and this map is completely open now. His air engagements went terribly, and I think he needed. You can't go with only one fighters. That's the issue with air openers. You have to take two fighters because with one fighter you have too few missiles out. So you can't do the air opener because of that. It's just too expensive. You can do air spam with Canadians, and you don't need to do the air opener. But yeah, doing the air spam like this in the opener is just leaving you out for so much exploitation on the ground, and especially Tiberius being a player that is not good at finding the right spot to stop, leaving yourself out without recon and leaving yourself out without any infantry to hold and driving into ambushes time and again. Like this wasn't the way to win this, and I think
Are we maybe looking at this from a different direction? What if there was no ground component but one extra Hornet? Could it maybe have succeeded?
it maybe could have done more damage. It maybe could have done more work in the long run. But yeah, it's a wild game here, and yeah, this is absolute GGG. The cluster bomber gets shut down there as well without achieving anything, and Stardekk really read Tiberius like a fiddle, just completely understanding what was going on in both games from the get-go, and having the right amount of units here around in the second game, losing still units to that air opener because obviously Tiberius is still a good player and Stardekk can't dodge everything, but he just played the grounds so methodically and gets the 2-0 victory here. A clean second game as well. And yeah, it's 10-minute Tiberius there, alright, but not in the right way.
Yeah, it's I mean, with the AT plane nerf, the AT plane price nerf, making them not dirt cheap and also super powerful at the same time, it has kind of taken away the potential to do like serious cheese. But I would still say that like you can buy that amount of planes and have that like relatively a similar effect 5 minutes in the game, and the rest of your division is more than good enough to actually hold it. It's not that like just the Rangers, even Canadian infantry could have probably dealt with the Rangers. Just have a leopard supporting them, a few extra infantry units, and the special forces trait wouldn't be as relevant. And then you can hover around behind the line with your 80 rocket helicopter in case you need to eliminate any fire support. You can take out CEVs. You can even buy your your AT plane together with an ECM if you're, or even like a cheap bomber. You get the freedom fighters as well, and the freedom fighters in practice kind of work as the IHawk killers in that situation if they're taken. There are a lot of stuff you can do and a lot of really powerful air plays. I just think that's that one's not anymore.
Yeah, the F-18 versus F-16 fight also is the F-18 has the speed advantage, the F-18 has the missile number advantage, but in quality it has higher ECM, sure, but the AIM-9Ms on the other side equalizing that kinda. So in the end, it was supposed to come out 1-1 there, and the F-16 is the cheaper fighter, so in the end comes out ahead there with the classic 1-1 trade, and then Tiberius is caught out on the other side of the field. With the airspace being so big, you also have to go so close to the enemy spawn to get your stuff done whilst being far away from your own spawn. so that the enemy can reinforce, wait the right moment, get behind you, and you have no time to react there, no other planes around to help. And yeah, Stardekk just played this out perfectly and got a really deserved 2-0 victory here over Tiberius, and making the life for Tiberius here a lot tougher, meaning that he's not allowed to make another misstep in this group stage, or he might get eliminated here.
Yeah, I mean, Stardekk also, we didn't get to see that much of Stardekk in these two games, but in both cases, I think he just, the fact that Stardekk basically realized the amazing moment that they had in the first game, and in the second one, just played pretty perfectly, just for like ground trades, and also controlled the planes really well. I mean, the F-16 could have been beaten, and maybe the game would have lasted a little bit longer with some really nice dice rolls for the Hornets. But the Hornets seemed to perform badly because Stardekk was so on the ball about countering them.
Yeah, and gonna be interesting to see how this continues. So we gonna come for you with more Division 1 action next week. Gonna have an end here for today with WARNO League action. It's time for a bit of dinner and stuff like that. But I'm likely gonna stream a bit more later today, though we're gonna go back into Masters of Command because I'm absolutely itching about that game. It might be my game of the year. It is one of the best games I have seen in a long while, and I'm really wanting to finish that Austrian playthrough in Act 3.
Yeah, so I was watching a bunch of it last night on YouTube, so I wasn't commenting. So it's basically Battle Brothers meets Ultimate General, right?
Yeah, or Battle Brothers meets Total War. It's fantastic.
Or
And
well, Total. You were saying Total War, but yeah, Battle Brothers meet Total War, but the Ultimate General is Total War Empire, but good anyways.
yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's gonna be a lot of fun later tonight as well. We're gonna be back with that most likely in 2.5 hours, guys. So if you don't want to miss that, be around. And for that, now we're gonna send you towards some other esports over at Age of Empires 4, EGC TV.
Or alternatively, if you guys want to see some of the lower division casts, especially early on the stream yesterday, I was casting kind of as doing advice to one of the Division 4 players. So if you're interested in kind of bettering your basic Warno skills, or just watching a bunch of the games that we don't cast here on the mainstream, you can go watch my VOD. Available for like 2 weeks now
So
on twitch.tv/chloride47.
see you all around, everybody, and have a nice day.